So here you see the 21 in the wheel. We call this archetype the manager. It's in transit from March 30th to April 3rd. In human design, this is the gate of the hunter or the huntress. In the I Ching, we call this hexagram biting through. And in the gene keys, it's the frequency band that goes from the shadow of control to the city of valor. And the gift frequency or the human pathway is authority. And here we're looking at gate 21 from an I Ching perspective. So the I Ching is mapping the sky in the Eastern way, where it's putting it into 64 different combinations of yin lines and yang lines. So when you have yin lines and yang lines, and you have 6 of them, you can create 64 different iterations. And in the wheel, we're going to see that we are going to have the same trigram, the 3 bottom lines, throughout the wheel in 8 different ways. So here, where we are right now, we're going to see that all of the hexagrams are going to have the thunder trigram. That's the innocent, the discoverer, the manager, thunder, the nomad, the eternal child, the nourisher, and the inventor. They all have thunder as the trigram on the bottom. If you know about gate 51, that is the hexagram that is thunder over thunder. So that's the energy that is the base for all of the hexagrams in this 1/8 of the wheel. So looking at 21, it's very powerful. So we have clinging fire over arousing thunder. Like I said before, when we have thunder over thunder, that is the same as hexagram 51. When we have fire over fire, that's the same as hexagram 30. So we could say that hexagram or gate or gene key 21 is a combination of the energy of the 30 and the 51. That means that the shadow of control is desiring agitation. The gift of authority is lightness with initiative, and the city of valor is rapturous awakening. Here we're looking at this gate from an astrological perspective. So this is in the part of the wheel that is the Aries sign. So in the Western way of mapping the sky, we are mapping it in 12 different signs, or 13 or 14, depending on who speaks. But the most common way is 12 different signs. So Aries is the first sign that corresponds to the first house. Here, the archetypes are pioneer, warrior, and adventurer from an astrological perspective. It is service to others in the way of the warrior's will. It's cardinal fire. So this is where the astrological year starts. Aries is the spark that ignites the fires of pioneering purpose. So this is about self, sense of self. It's Mars that is a ruler, and sometimes he's a little bit immature. Sometimes he acts first and thinks later. So that's a bit of the energy of Aries and its ruler. So that energy is very activated for us now with the sun there. We have Chiron there, and we have a lot of planets that are on the cusp between Pisces and Aries that we're going to look at in the transits in a little while. So we are in the wheel in the quarter that we're calling the quarter of initiation, where the purpose is fulfilled through the mind. We were speaking about the hexagram structure before, that all of the gates that are here are going to have a yang line on the bottom and then a yin line. So it's by the binary. So all these, the 2 bottom lines are the same throughout this quarter. The quarter always starts with a Sphinx gate. The Sphinx gate is 13. It's number 2, it's number 7, and it's number 1. That's where the quarter starts. So we are here right now on the second half of this quarter. The only channel that is activated in the body graph in this quarter is the 5125, which is the channel of initiation. We could speak about this as the ideas. We could also speak as the human life. Then this would be the child, this would be the teenager, this would be the woman, and this would be the crown or the elder if it was a woman, right? And we could do the same with a man. I was playing with Robert with this the other week. He's always giving me everything in the feminine. I'm like, what would it be in the masculine? He's like, oh, I didn't even think about that. I like polarity, so I always think in both. So here we are in the wheel center. This is a motor, one of 4 motors. So we have the ego center, we have the solar plexus, we have the root and the sacral solar plexus that are all motors. So here we are going to have the energy for commitment and willpower. In the integral human design, we say that the shadow is ego, the gift is willpower, And the highest frequency is surrender. And you can think about that as divine will. So whether it's like the 21, that's a warrior that is led by God into the fields of fighting for honor and with valor. And then we have the 40, for example, is pointing toward the solar plexus, which is in the gene keys called the seat of the divine will. So it's definitely connected to this energy of surrender, which is not usually in human design what we would think about when we say the ego center, right? So here we're looking at the other side. So always when we have a gate, we want to look at the whole process. The other side of the gate, which is the harmonic gate, here is the 45. So we have the archetype of goodwill, the manager that are connecting, and the 45, some keywords, governance, benevolence, and cooperation. And here with the 21, simply willpower and authority. This is a manifested channel. We call it a money line. It's the only ego manifested channel. There's nothing else that connects the ego directly to the throat. This one is strong. This is interesting. I was told that Ra Uru had said that if you are a manifesting generator, you can't be a pure generator because you have a motor connected to the throat. So if you have this, you're going to have some kind of manifesting, whether you're a manifestor or a manifesting generator. He told somebody who has the 515 and the 2145 that he was a manifestor with sacral timing. The 515 is about timing. And I thought that was interesting because at the same time, if you have the sacral defined, you are a manifesting generator, right? But I could see that somehow this channel is so powerful. So even me knowing this person, I actually feel a lot of this 45-20 in his energy. At the same time, everything is always on his timing, but that kind of seems to be a little bit more in the background than the expression of the 45-21. The theme here, the material plane needs to be embraced fully. You're here to make money through the power of your goodwill. And this person told me the first year I knew him, he said, I made $4 million this year and I am planning on, I don't even know what it was, to double that in the next few months. So yeah, the money channel, right? Keywords here for the whole channel. So remember, it's a process, it's the whole channel. So here we have dominance and control coming together in the gates, ownership, not super interesting, right? Then we have synergy and authority coming together in sustenance. And then the highest frequency, communion and valor coming together in philanthropy. Here we're looking at the wheel. We have 21 in Aries in the beginning of the astrological year. And then we have the 48 in Libra in the middle of the year in the quarter of duality. You can see that they are not only mirror opposites in the wheel, they are also mirror opposites in terms of the hexagram. So wherever the 21 has a yang line, the 48 is going to have a yin line and vice versa. Inadequacy, resourcefulness, and wisdom are the keynotes for the 48. And here we're looking at not only that one channel that is about the process, but we're looking at the whole circuitry. So circuitry, there's 3 different main groups: individual, tribal, and collective. So me and my mutation and my inspiration, like how I can be inspired and mutate, which is going to inspire and mutate the whole. And then with the tribal circuitry, it's all about the tribe and it's supporting each other. And it's a lot about the material plane. And then we have collective, which is 2 different parts of collective, the understanding, more logical one, and then the sensing one that is more abstract. And that is always for the future. So that's all kinds of patterns and experiences that we become wise from, and we create a better pattern forward. We create something based on what we have learned, and that's about sharing. So we have empowerment in the individual, we have support in the tribal, and we have sharing as a keynote in the collective. So here we are in the support one, and we are going to look at the specific circuit. So inside of the tribal circuitry, this is the ego circuit. So again, this is a lot about the material plane, and the 45 is the king, and the 21 is the manager. So the 21 is going to have to do with the people that are here in the tribe and that have different roles, different principles inside of the family or the tribe. Here we are looking at a different way of this gate. So just take this in for a little moment, the symbol, and then also the little guy running or jumping. So this is a depiction of gate 21. This system, Abaxis 3D, is using color to combine the I Ching together with astrology. So remember what we said before? We said fire on the top trigram and thunder on the bottom. So in this system, thunder is red. It's connected to Aries. It's an initiating energy. Makes sense, right? We said it was connected to the 51 before. And then fire is the yellow, and that is connected to Gemini because fire spreads very fast and connects to everything, burns it up. So that's a Gemini energy. So in that system that's connected to astrology, we would say that this gate 21 is a combination of Gemini and Aries. And Gemini is the background, and the little guy is Aries. So that also gives us the rulers to remember here, Mars and Mercury. And we see the third sign and the first sign as well. And here we're going to go a little bit deeper. So when we look at the hexagram, there are going to be two hidden trigrams within. So we have, like we said, the thunder one and the fire one. But if we don't look at the top one and the bottom one, there are going to be two hidden ones. So in this one, we're going to have water and we're going to have mountain. And that actually gives us like a secret sauce or kind of recommendation. So what Sergio does is that he has a verb for the actual hexagram. And then he has a meaning or a purpose, and he has a recommendation. And the recommendation comes from the inner trigrams. So the verb that he's using is in Spanish superar, which would be in English to overcome or to surpass. That's what we do. This is the biting through in the I Ching. So it's bite through. We are overcoming. We are living through. We are surpassing. And the purpose is to eliminate obstacles. And if you know somebody with this ego energy, yes, they probably are going to live through, surpass, overcome, and they're going to eliminate the obstacles with that willpower that are on the way. And then the inner trigrams are going to show us what we need to do. So that is to make a balance of pros and cons. So that can also be, I was saying that in the call before, for those of you that were in the inner circle with us, that in this energy that is very activated with all the Aries right now, that it can be very good to have the self-discipline, to have a little bit of space before we just act. Because that is the Aries, the Mars energy of just doing, and then it's like we already burned up things and it's like harder to go back. So can we have that balance first, pros and cons? How much do I elbow myself forward here? So to have that balance, knowing what we're using our willpower, our energy from that motor in the will center for. That is one way of looking at the 21. And now we're going to bring in another way of looking at it. So the last way of looking at it is from the last octave. So here we have, funny, how everything is 3 in the gene keys, the gift and the shadow and the city, and a lot of the different things with the triangle of involution and the evolution, the involution, the pearl and the star pearl. With the last octave, which is Robert James Comber's book, it becomes 4 in many of the different things that he's doing. Even when he looks at the codon rings in gene keys, becomes the star codons, and there's also like formations that are more in quadrinity. So he called it quadrinity psychology, but it's really about how the soul can integrate and work with these hexagrams. So you see again, we're back into the old I Ching. This is fire over thunder. And he's speaking about this archetype in the 21 as Venus Athena or Pallas Athena. That is the archetype. And this is about the feminine embodiment of Mars and Aries energy. So you can see here, like we can see that warrior, we can see the fire in the background, the thunder, but it's the feminine embodiment of that. And I'm going to read a little bit about it, and then we're going to look at the keywords. So Venus Athena is the feminine embodiment of Mars Aries energy. She who wears the imperial golden armor that burns with radiant light. She who carries the shield of protection with the serpentine head of Medusa and the emblazoned helmet of Aries as the higher mind. She grasps the equatorial sphere of single-pointed divine action and will. Stargate 21 is the feminine shield maiden of protection, the collective wholeness of all encompassing Venusian love, as the sun exalts in her eyes, blazing light the new pathway of the year. So that's how we see it in the Lost Octave. And I got really happy when I saw the transformation of passivity, because I know some people that have the 21 as their sun or their life's work, or that have the cross of tension. The cross of tension is the 21, the 48, the 39, and the 38. There's so much energy. You know, you have the root center with the 39 and the 38, and then you have the wheel here. Like there's so much energy in that cross. And sometimes I feel like people with that cross or with the 21 seem like stuck in passivity. And I'm like, how is that possible? There's so much energy here. Like, how can you be stuck? And I really like that that is something that he pulled up, and to just know how uncomfortable they must feel if you have the 21 and you feel stuck. And there's a keynote of a transformation of passivity that needs to happen. Like, how are you using that energy? What we say with the ego center is that it's not here to work all the time. It's actually here to rest and then work when it's really worth it, when it really matters. And that's sometimes where the 40 gets exhausted, because we want it to be in muscle power all the time. And it's not what the ego center is here for. So this is the light of divine action. It's the integration of fearlessness. Again, if we don't have that gap with the pros and the cons, we can just jump into the war. And then that fearlessness is not necessarily going to lead to anything constructive. And then we spoke about the passivity. The embodiment here is vigor. And that's also something, thinking back to people that have 21 very powerfully, their pearl or their sun or their Jupiter, that yes, I can see this vigor in them that is so powerful. Often it's some kind of dance or martial arts. It's like usually comes out in some kind of physical way. Vigor, I guess it is physical and in nature, but that's how I experience those people as well. So that's another way of looking at this gate. And now we are just going to take a very quick look at the transits just to give you an overview. So we have all this stuff on the cusp of the last sign Pisces and the first sign Aries. And we have Neptune, who 2 days ago went into Aries for the first time in over 150 years. So there is a new era that's starting. A lot of the veil with Neptune in Pisces, double energy of Pisces, double energy of the veil, double energy of kind of limitlessness and not really know where we're floating in, mutable waters, is now in Aries. So there's going to be a lot of things coming up to the surface. There are probably going to be some unexpected things. Some things are going to burn up and crack through. We still have Chiron in Aries. We also have the sun there. So a lot of energy of initiation, a lot of energy of coming back to self and understanding what is self and what isn't self, healthy ego versus unhealthy ego. And then we have the close planets of Mercury and Venus going retrograde over this 0 Aries point. So there's also quite a lot of reflection that we're asked to do about the new beginnings. So it could feel like, okay, I'm starting. Oh no, I had to like go over it again. Okay, I'm starting. So to see over the next few months that there can be a few like false starts and a few burn ups before more towards the summer we can do that real start. So don't make yourself wrong. More have a bit of that self-discipline, have that pause with pros and cons before you just fearlessly jump into it. And then today, the energy with the moon in Taurus together with Uranus kind of creates even a bit more of that unexpected energy, can feel quite uncomfortable because Taurus is the physical body. So to have that kind of unexpected energy of Uranus and the emotional energy of the moon, who normally likes to be in Taurus, but now she's kind of shaken by Uranus, emotionally, physically, it can feel unease, like unease today. So that is the energy. And then there's one more thing I wanted to share, because this is also the astrological new year. I always say it's 4 times we can start a year. Calendar year, January 1st. Then we have the Rave New Year, similar to the Chinese New Year. And then, well, maybe it's even 5. Then we have the astrological new year in Aries. We sometimes say that gate 3, the eternal child, is a beginning as well. And then you have your birthday, your solar return. There are 5 times a year you can start. And now would be a good time to go into the inner circle, because what we do is that we are reading astrology. So we're starting in Aries, which is me, ego, right? Healthy or unhealthy ego. And we go through the wheel from like the most personal, Taurus and Aries, to the most transpersonal, Aquarius and Pisces, over the year. So we do have a $200 off the yearly. And if you come into that, what happens is that you are able to get all the courses that are $55 each unlocked in one single time. So if you want to come into the inner circle and get all the courses for the 64 doors and all the astrology courses and then all the calls that we're doing with the members, now would be a good time. And if you're already in the inner circle, you can speak with me or Ashley to upgrade, and then you're also able to change your monthly one to a yearly one.